Welcome, everyone, to this session of the ESIP Education Out2Lunch webinar series. These sessions are hosted by ESIP, the Earth Science Information Partners. ESIP is a national organization with over 120 members collaborating to advance the use of earth science data across society. The Education Committee organizes these sessions to introduce cool data tools to educators. I'm Luann Dahlman, standing in for our regular facilitator, Margaret Mooney. Today, we're pleased to have Dorian Janney of NASA's Global Precipitation Measurement Mission. Dorian's presentation is When It Rains, It Pours. So go ahead and take it away, Dorian.
All right, well, thank you very much. It really is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. And I am a former educator. I taught for 33 years and taught across all grade levels. And as I was telling Luann earlier, I just have nothing but the utmost respect for educators because it is the hardest job you'll ever do and the most important. So it really is an honor to be here with you today. What I do is I now am the translator, I like to think of it that way, for scientists and engineers who work with one of the 19 Earth-observing satellites that NASA has up in orbit right now. And over here on the far left in the center, you can see GPM. That stands for Global Precipitation Measurement. And that is the mission that I support. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do, and then I'm going to show you how to access some of the data. So it's super important for us to be able to quantify how much precipitation is falling to the Earth, and to be able to do that with a single set of instruments so that we have that reliability and that validity by having the same instruments be able to do these measurements and to be able to update these measurements very frequently. I noticed that we have someone from Puerto Rico, Elizabeth Torres, who has joined us. And one of the things that we found during the recent hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico was that when the radar went down, fortunately, because we had the radars went down on the island of Puerto Rico, but because we had our satellite mission, we were able to measure exactly how much precipitation was falling, and that data was extremely essential for many of the life-saving and warning people about the potential of flooding. So not only is this data used and useful for informing people about when there could be these types of extreme events, but it's also extremely critical for helping us to better understand how our Earth systems are changing as a result of our changing climate. The bird and the canary is really Earth's water cycle. And one of the ways that we're going to be able to determine what's happening with Earth's water cycle is by being able to, as I say, quantify to the millimeter level how much it's raining or snowing. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how we do that, but I only have 10 minutes, so I won't tell you much. I'm going to show you, though, where you can go and learn more and show your students more. So on this slide here, I have precipitation, and just that here is a way that we can look at the change of precipitation intensity. One of the predictions that scientists have made is that because we are going to have increased energy as the ice melts and turns into liquid water, we have increased energy that is released into Earth's atmosphere, and most likely that is going to result in more extremes in precipitations. So that means some places are going to have a lot more precipitation. That also means that we're going to have some changes in the amount of water runoff that is occurring, because we'll have this increased precipitation. But we also are going to find, and this is kind of conversely, we're going to be finding that in some areas, though, they have increased drought. So the predictions right now are that we're going to be seeing some extremes occurring, and these will be occurring as a result of our changing climate. So now I'm going to take you to two websites that I hope you'll find useful. Okay, let me do this a different way. So one sec here, I'm going to pull this over. The first website is the one that is the kind of the host website for the satellite mission that I work with. We call it Precipitation Measurement Missions. And I'm just going to stop for a minute, and if somebody can just type yes or no as to whether or not you see right now on the screen Precipitation Measurement Missions as the beautiful. Oh, that makes me happy. So this is the landing page. If you were to put in GPM, well, anyway, you'll want to go to pmmnasa.gov, because this is the page that will take you to the information that I'm going to be showing you right now. Sometimes with NASA, we have more than one website, so I just wanted to be sure that you see the one and you have access to the one that I'm going to show you. This is kind of neat because it will go through, and our little scrolling header here will talk about some of the extreme weather. We are a follow-up mission to a mission that was launched in 1997 called TRIM, for Tropical Rainfall Measurement Mission. We launched, GPM launched in 2014, and it works with a constellation of satellites, and because of that, we're able to give an updated picture of how much it's raining and snowing every 2.5 to 3 hours. So right now, I'm going to go on and show you the near real-time iMerge is when we take all of our data and pull it together, and probably the data that is the most impactful to start off with when you're working with students is to go to the animation of the past 7 days. So you'll note down here on the left-hand side, this is from November 1st is when this starts. And I'm sorry, no, it starts on October 26th or 25th, and then it's going to today. So as you're seeing this, and you'll notice that it's pretty short, you're also seeing the pattern and the intensity of the precipitation. So this is a pretty neat way for anyone to be able to look and get a feel for the wind direction, the wind speed, and the amount of precipitation. You'll notice down at the bottom, there is a color-coded key, and that's what we use to be able to make this so that it is, as you look at it, your brain can interpret what it's seeing. So that is our iMerge product, and again, here are those different color-coded the bar codes. So that's kind of a neat thing that you can look at. Then I wanted to show you, if you go to, actually not that, I'm going to come back to home. So I'm right here on the Precipitation Measurement Missions. I come back to home. Now I'm going to go down to where it says Data Visualization Tools. These are the most user-friendly ways to take a look at our data. And we have a couple of different ways you can do that. One is our Global Viewer. Another is our Precipitation and Applications Viewer. And then we have our Storm Event Viewer and our NASA World View. Giovanni is rather fiddly, and so that's a great one to use, and there's tutorials that's great for your high school students, maybe some of your upper middle school students who are used to working with GIS systems. But kind of your low-hanging fruit is to start with this, this global viewer, and it's just taking a minute here to load. And what I'm going to see is pretty much it's going to look like Google Earth. So I'm going to come around here, and this is as of today, Universal Time 0230. So these are the conditions a few hours ago, and you can find where you are locating. I'm looking down in our Puerto Rico area. Looks like you may have had some precipitation earlier. You can also move around the globe. You know, you can move back and forward. So this is really some kind of nice low-hanging fruit to show you the last 24 hours and be able to very easily zoom in and take a look at the intensity of the precipitation. And what we're doing here is we're measuring it in millimeters per hour. So that's what the global viewer looks like. Now I'm going to come back to the Precipitation and Applications Viewer. And again, we've got tutorials here to help you to better understand how to access this data. This takes a little more sophistication to get in here and add your different layers to it. So we've got that one. And probably many of you have already used Worldview, but that's another really nice way to go. You can pick and choose the dates you want. Maybe if you wanted to look at when we did have the Hurricane Maria over Puerto Rico, and you can go in and you can actually make it so that you can get several layers and even kind of see it like a movie. So that is what I wanted to show you with the data layers. I also wanted to show you, if you go to the Education tab, what you're going to find are lots of different educational resources. We've split them into 4 basic groups. And let's say that I chose weather and climate. I could go in here, and then I can come down and I can find several different, some information about weather and climate. I can come over here and I can even go through and say, hey, I want a lesson plan. I want it for high school students, and then say apply. And this will come up with some of the different lesson plans we have. If you go to one of the lesson plans and you click on it, you'll see we've got a lot of different links here, pretty much ready to go and ready to be taught. And last but not least, if you go to GPM Originals, what you're going to find here is these are all the lesson plans that we have developed. And they're not just lesson plans. There's videos, websites, a variety of different things. The one thing I wanted to show you so that you can have, we also have Lego models, but so that you can have access to it is something called, see if this is our ebook. Nope. So we have, come back here to home, a new ebook it is called, and trying to see if we have it up on our main page. Sorry about that. I had found it, and we'll come back down here, originals, and maybe it's under article. We're in the process, yes, here, so here we go. So understanding Earth, what's up with precipitation. If you go in there, we've got both an iBook, and you can also print that out as a brochure if you so decide. And then the other one that I had on here to show you, and I'm only just gonna put this, actually I'm gonna send this link so that it can be sent to you because it's a rather long link. And if you go to this is an ebook that we developed with the World Bank. And as you go through here, you will learn a lot about different types of data and how we measure data in so many different ways. You can also see all the movies and everything in context and more information about it. And you can go and find the different data sets. So with that, I am going to stop and thank you so much for letting me spend a little bit of time with you, and I hope that you will find these resources helpful.
Wow, thanks very much, Dorian. Looked like some great stuff as you were moving around in there. Loved that.
Speed dating. Sorry to rush.
Yeah, well, you do keep it short so people can learn something and then move on. I do want to invite people to ask questions or clarifications from Dorian right now. And as she mentioned, we can send out links following this, and we will put this up on the Out2Lunch site so everybody can get to it. Looks like she's offered that link for us right there. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I thought, well, hey, I can do this. This is not rocket science, and I do rocket science.
Hey, this is Margaret. That was a great talk, Dorian. I learned a lot. My question is, you said it was a constellation of satellites?
Yes.
What are the satellites? Are they all GPM satellites? Are they other, what are the satellites, and are they all polar orbiting satellites?
So excellent question. And so here's how this works. Our satellite is all of them are polar orbiting in that their orbits are close to Earth. They're certainly not geosynchronous. I will bring up a picture here. And what we have is that there are a bunch of satellites that are already up in orbit, and they are looking at other things. They're not specifically looking at precipitation, but we use two main instruments on our satellite, on our core observatory. One of those is an active and passive radar. The other is a microwave. So we're able to gather data from other satellites that have a microwave instrument, and by simply going on there and gathering that data and pulling it through our main microwave instrument, we're able to get that big picture. So I was just trying to see here if easily I could pull up and show you. It might just be an image.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I get that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. And so some of them are actually from the United States. Some of them are NOAA. We have one that's a Department of Defense, and the other ones are actually from other countries. Isn't that kind of cool? I like to use this as an example of ways in which we can, work together and find ways to be able to, study and care about our Earth. Because we often hear, oh, countries are fighting with each other, but that's not always the case. Lots of times, very often, we're sharing and cooperating.
Yeah, lots of opportunities for people to, if they have a heavy rain event, to go on and figure some things out, make it very timely.
There absolutely are, and also things that one of the big things that we're working with right now, since we've been up for 3 years and we've done a lot of ground validation. So we've got a lot of information on how we did our ground validation to make sure what we're measuring using algorithms is exactly the same as what people are able to measure on the ground. And we had to do that in lots of different types of terrains, and also with lots of different types of precipitation. So we have a pretty robust area about the ground validation campaigns, if you go to the GPM ground validation, which is interesting. And the other thing we're pushing now are applications. Okay, this is cool that you can collect all this information, but why should we care? And that last link that I gave you that's kind of long is one that if you're interested in seeing the intersection between gathering Earth observations using satellites and better understanding and responding to disease, please join us at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for a telecom that we're having, where we'll have a couple of different scientists who are reporting in on using this Earth observing data to help them understand things like cholera and Zika and malaria.
Great. Dorian, it's been very nice and informative, and we will take this recording and put it up on our Out2Lunch site, and people will be able to contact you for more information from there as well. So thank you very much, everyone.